It's because I literally just woke up from a nap. Just right now, bro. So, anyways, you might have noticed that I'm here a little bit earlier today. There's a good reason for that because my wife's not on night shift anymore. So, I got a limited amount of time to do these live streams and stay on here. Before I was doing like 3 hour live streams because I was bored. I'm not gonna be that bored anymore. So enjoy the little bit of time that you have with me. Adam Smith, what's going on, brother? Nothing much, man. I just woke up from a nap. Gonna get my live streaming in. I probably got like an hour. My wife went to go work out, so probably got at least until 7 o'clock. Just got back from Mexico yesterday. What part of Mexico is you in? This should be an interesting conversation then. Just got back from Big Mexico. Nuevo León. Stayed 3 days in Monterrey. It's dope, man. It was an amazing trip. I don't remember. I don't remember your level of Spanish, but did you speak a lot of Spanish while you were there? If you didn't, why? If you did, what did you find? What did you find difficult, or did you find anything difficult? Were you just chilling? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what the news is talking about. Well, I'm gonna wait for you to tell me about your trip because you might give me something to talk about. Spoke some Spanish, but not very much. Most people spoke English. When you were speaking the Spanish that you did speak, was there anything that you found difficult to say, difficult to understand, concepts that you maybe couldn't describe or something like that? You might have seen in the title that I put the subjunctive mood because it was on my mind. Because I talked to some people that were. I talked to this lady in a barber shop, and she she's part of like a she's a teacher for like a bilingual program in high school or something like that. But she's the English side of it, and she was telling me that she was learning Spanish from like well, she said she was thinking she would learn Spanish from the kids, and and it's been 4 years and she hasn't really learned. Well, and I was telling her, I'm like, you have to actually talk. It's not gonna, you're just not gonna get it by osmosis. Not completely, anyways. Like she knew a little bit, but she didn't really understand the concept of the subjunctive. So that's why it was on my mind. And people make the subjunctive way tougher than it has to be, and it's literally because they treat it like the boogeyman, and they say like, nah, don't learn that right now. Wait till you're better and learn it later. But you don't actually have to do that. Like, you just need to understand what it is. You need to understand that Spanish is not the same language as English. And once you understand how the regular indicative works, then you'll understand the subjunctive a lot better. So you said no joke. I actually had trouble with the subjunctive. What maybe did you have trouble with? Like what about the subjunctive is tougher to you than I don't know any other concept? The indicative, like what makes the subjunctive tough to you? And if you tell me that, then maybe I'll start talking about the subjunctive. But in the meantime, while you answer that, going back to what I said, in English is like I said, it's just not the same as Spanish, and that's why I've said on here before. English is not that hard to become like conversational in because you can make so many mistakes, and you're not like so far off grammatically that people are like, "Whoa, what did you just say?" Like for instance, and this is like not a great analogy, but I'm just throwing something out there. You're supposed to say he likes to listen to music. He likes to watch movies. You could kind of speak like a caveman and say he like movie. Yeah, he likes movies. He likes to watch movies. It's pretty easy to understand even if you completely butcher an English sentence. But it, in Spanish, it's like the subjunctive is so different than the indicative because the indicative is not the same as ours. It's a little bit different. Like I said, the indicative is factual in Spanish, whereas like in English, it kind of, like I said, it kind of doesn't matter how you say stuff. If you say, do 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 do, let me think of something that people say wrong a lot, but technically it doesn't matter. Um, I can't really think of anything in English because, like I said, it's so it kind of just doesn't matter. But if you say that you're expecting something, um, or that you demand something, like if you in English, if you say I demand that you should say I demand that he be in the office tomorrow, right? Or I expect him to be in the office. But you could say, I expect that he's in the office tomorrow. Like, technically saying I expect that he's in the office is kind of wrong. But like I said, in English, it just literally doesn't matter. You could say, I expect him to be in the office, or I expect that he's in the office. Um, technically, if you say, I expect that he's in the office, you are saying you expect that he's in the office right now. But then you can just double up on it and say tomorrow. You say I expect that he's in the office tomorrow, and it's wrong. But like I said, language evolves, it changes, and so you can say whatever you want in English, and people know what you're talking about. But um, like I said, in Spanish, it's a little bit different. A little bit different. I'm gonna wait till I see you reply. I had trouble saying, I wish that I had done that when I was younger. It's a good example. A good example in English. If you say it like that, or if you say, I wish I did that, it doesn't matter. Like, it's the same sentence basically, right? But, what did you say in Spanish? And then let me tell you how you maybe could have said it better. I want to know, like, what your trouble was. Finally got a chance to listen in for a moment. What up? Yeah, I won't be on here that long, but Probably got like I probably got like 30 or 40 minutes on my hand. We're just talking about stuff. Yo, yeah, you see I'm early today, right? Planet Moolah, so check this out. My wife is on day shift now, bro. So I'm gonna be on here earlier, but I'm not gonna be on here as long. So it's kind of a bittersweet situation. I'm gonna get on here on the times like where she goes to work out, but it's only gonna be like an hour now versus like the 3 hours I was on before late at night. So you'll be seeing me here pretty early. I am trying to wait on Mr. Smith um, before I tell him. I want him to tell me what he tried to say, and then I'll tell him what I would say. Not necessarily the right thing, but it is what I would say. There's always a lot of different ways to say stuff. Planet Moolah, if you want to join in. Oh, you just ended up saying it in English. Okay, so this one's a little more complex, right? Because it's not the present tense necessarily. You're talking about wishing uh, that you would have done something earlier, right? So because you said wish, we'll start off with ojalá, right? And then you got some options. Depends on who you're talking to, where you're from. You can say hubiese, or you can say hubiera. But let's just go with hubiera. Ojalá hubiera hecho eso, esto, whatever, antes, right? So that one's a little more complex, and I would expect that if you're not speaking Spanish frequently, like obviously that would trip you up. What I think isn't as difficult is like present tense stuff that people like really avoid. So like saying like I hope you're well and espero que estés bien, right? Like I don't think it's that difficult. I think people just think subjunctive and they get freaked out and they rather not. But like I was saying earlier, Spanish is different than English. So when you say something indicative, like it's factual, or at least you believe it's factual. So once I say estás bien, right? Estás bien is saying like you're good. So if I say espero que estás bien, like it's automatically like a native speaker is probably gonna have like a half a second meltdown inside, like and then I mean like native speakers can understand what people are trying to say to them, especially if it's like a pretty simple thought. So like I said, there's not a good analogy in English because don't really we we don't use our subjunctive as much, or people don't care. Like I was saying earlier, you could say stuff completely wrong and it's still understood in English. But yeah, once you say something indicative in Spanish, it's pretty factual. So it just doesn't. It's not even like a. It sounds kind of weird if you do it, but you can do it. It's just like, no, it's just wrong. Like once you say espero okay, if you put estás after that, bro, like it's just wrong. Like I said, you might still be understood if it's a relatively simple thought, but no, don't do it. Don't do it. The subjunctive is definitely one of the biggest sticking points. And like I said, it doesn't have to be. I think people should treat their second language like they treated their first one, right? You just listen to people talk and you just do what they're doing. Your brain will start to put the pieces together over time. But you shouldn't avoid it. You should just try it and maybe get it wrong. People will correct you if you tell them you're learning and you try to put together that big ass sentence, and people will be like, "Oh, this is what you were trying to say, right?" Um, Yeah. Yeah, you can use multiple different words, like we said. Like there's always different ways to say stuff. Have I ever been to Mexico? No, I've never been to Mexico. Never. But yeah, don't avoid the subjunctive. Start trying to use it today. And like I said, the present tense is it's more simple. When you were learning Spanish, what did you find most difficult? Everything, you know what I mean? Like it's another language, so it to me it's all the same. I like I said, I never did like the whole boogeyman thing. I did think the subjunctive was harder than it was just because of the way I was taught it. Like because other people told me that the subjunctive was too complex to work on at the beginning stages, but it's really not. Like I said, if you kind of change the way you look at the indicative, it'll change the way you see the subjunctive. Because the way native speakers teach adults that are learning Spanish, and like kind of the way that English speakers that learn Spanish tell other adults, they always try to explain the subjunctive instead of explaining the indicative better. So they always say like, oh, if you have a doubt or if you're expressing an emotion. But what that's gonna do is it's gonna like shut your brain down because you're gonna be like, is this a doubt? Is this real? Is this whatever? It's better that you just learn the trigger words for one. That's the first step. But then on top of that, recognizing, like I said, that if you're not talking about something that is factual or something that you think is factual, you automatically should be going the other direction, right? So, like I said, like we could use like wherever you want to use. Let's use the verb like venir, right? If I say vienes, I'm saying that you are coming, right? So if I'm talking about the near future and I say, let me backtrack a little bit. I'm gonna say two things and I'm gonna tell you why they're different. If I say cuando vienes or cuando vengas, they're two different things, right? If I say cuando vienes, it automatically sounds like I'm talking about something that you habitually do. Like when you come here, you do this. It doesn't sound like I'm talking about like when you get here in the near future. You get what I'm saying? So that's the thing. The indicative is factual stuff and stuff that you habitually do. So like I said, if I say like, hey, when you get to my house, we're gonna blah blah. I'm not gonna say cuando llegas because that would either that would be me saying like when you come here, you always do this. But if I'm talking about the near future, I need to say cuando llegues because it's something that it's not factual. Something that's gonna happen in the future, maybe I don't know. But if I say llegas, saying like you're getting here. Am I still learning Portuguese? Yes and no. I'm gonna say no. I've put it on pause. That's what I'm gonna say. Shit. I've put it on pause until I find a person that I think is cool that speaks Portuguese. I don't want to like. I'm not a textbook dude. I'm not a random person dude either. So like, I don't really want to like hit up random people to learn Portuguese. Like, I need to at least have one person in my life that really speaks it. That like inspires me to want to learn it. Just like with Spanish, I knew people that spoke Spanish, and I'm like, man, I could communicate better with them if I spoke their language. I had clients that barely spoke English, stuff like that. I got friends that live in Colombia that don't speak that much English. So it's always like our conversation can't go to another level because this is where the level is. So I'm like, I need to get to that level and we can talk about more stuff. So it's on pause. I still want to learn it. I just need to find a reason to learn it. I have my first speaking lesson on Saturday. Dope, bro. Who did you schedule with? Like, where are they from? And what do you plan on? What's your expectations? Good luck on your journey, bro. Just remember it's a long road. You can do it though. Yeah, it is a long road, man. Just like when you asked me earlier, kind of moolah, what did I find difficult when I was learning? First of all, I would say I'm still learning. Second of all, I would say, like I said, everything is difficult. Everything is a new experience in a new language, right? So you could have done something 1,000 times in English, but when you need to describe it in Spanish, you could know all of the vocab, bro. But you're still gonna be like, man, how do I say this, bro? Like, because it's new. Like, you don't have the wiring yet, bro. You don't have the wiring to look at a cup and say whatever. I've I've done things with a cup in English 5,000, 5,000,000 times. It's not even a conscious thought going on when I'm holding this. Like anything that I'm gonna do with it, unless I like say something that I've literally never done before, like I'm gonna. See, I'm pausing right now because I'm thinking of something I never done. I'm gonna throw this cup behind me, and I hope that it lands right side up and none of the liquid spills out. See, I had to think of like how to construct that sentence because it's outrageous. But any normal stuff that I would do with a cup and liquid spilling it, whatever, like I would never even have to think about it because I probably said it 5,000 times. Everyone's dropped their cup. Everyone has spilled stuff. So you don't remember the first time you spilled something and like you tried to say it and like you didn't know how to say it. Your parents like, oh, you spilled your drink. You spilled your drink. So it's normal. Like I said, like every new experience you have in your next language will be kind of tough, but that's just what it is. You're speaking a language you don't speak. I've been in this game for a year now, and I barely have an intermediate level. I mean, I know a year feels like a long time, but like it's really not a long time. Like, especially depending on the amount of conversations that you've been having. If you were like on it, yeah, you would have a higher level. Like there's people on here that you could watch. They might do like italki lessons like every day for a year or something. They're gonna have a pretty decent level. They're literally speaking every single day. But if you've just been like in the game for a year and you have conversations every once in a while, it's not so much like it's more about like the amount of work that you put in than it is the time. Because like that's what I always tell people when they're like, oh wow, like you achieved this in this amount of time, and I'm like, but you don't know how much I did though. You don't know how many conversations I had. You don't know this, that, and the other. So people were like, we both spent 2 years doing this, and you're way better than me. And I'm like, bro, a lot of people that say they're learning the language don't even have conversations. So yeah, you probably have been like doing it for 2 years, but have you been speaking frequently for 2 years? And even if you have, 1 year, like I said, it's not a lot of time. If you think about like if someone was like to start playing basketball or something like that, and they're like, man, I've been playing for a year now, and I'm not even like in the D League or something like that. You'll be like, bro, you're you're trying to get somewhere advanced in a year. It's mainly not gonna happen. I wonder what happened. I'm like, Ben, I was just texting him. When was that? Monday? No, sorry. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah. I was texting him on Monday. And I was talking to him about some future plans and stuff. We're gonna try to link up and go to Puerto Rico or Colombia. I don't know which one, but yeah, we're gonna try to link up. He's not really into this YouTube stuff, man. It's crazy because like he has so many, he has so many subscribers and he like inspires so many people, and I just can't. Bro, is he coming back to YouTube? I don't know. The last time he came back, it was because I got him to get on a live. So I think that's the only way I can do it. I need to like just be like, well, let's do a live on Sunday or something. I feel like that's the way he would come back. And like I said, this trip that we're planning together, I think like if he's not doing the work, if I record him or something, I think we could get some content going. So I'll try to I'll try to get him on a live again here soon. But yeah, he's a lot of people's biggest inspiration, bro. So, uh, like I said, I can't force him to like this YouTube stuff, but I think we can get him back at least every once in a while. I don't expect much from the interaction except to get more comfortable speaking. Yeah. You're probably gonna be wildly uncomfortable on Saturday. So I mean, there's probably nothing I can say that would like prepare you for it. It'll be good for you, man. Just like whatever happens, don't get down on yourself. Because I remember the first time. I remember when I did what you're doing. Yeah, I remember when I did what you're about to do. And my friend from Colombia, I asked him to teach me Spanish and blah blah blah, and he said, yeah, you already know a good amount of Spanish because we would message each other on like Instagram and stuff like that. He's like, man, you already know a decent amount. Let's get on a call right now and let's talk and let's just like see how much work we need to do. And bro, it's like I got on the call, bro, and it was like I was like, I know Spanish, bro. I know some stuff. I didn't know anything when I got on the call, bro. I mean, like, I couldn't say like where I was from. I couldn't say anything, bro. It was like my brain just shut down, bro. And he would be like repeating the question, and I'm like, no, I hear you, I hear you. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, bro. So, no matter what happens, good or bad, just keep trucking, bro. Just get on the next call, keep going forward. When you're starting out, each part is hard. Conquer that part, and then the next is hard. It's a learning journey. Yeah, exactly. It it's always gonna be tough, bro. And like I said on here before, actually, I need to post it as a YouTube short. I just posted something on Instagram it's not viral or anything, but it's going pretty crazy on Instagram right now. I posted a chart of the Dunning Kruger effect, and I was just telling people that most of them are like right at what's called Mount Stupid. I might have to draw it for you guys if you've never seen it before. Let me see. This is gonna be super, super shorthand. It's not gonna be like a super accurate thing, but I just want to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So, Dunning-Kruger effect. Mount Stupid, Valley of Despair. Okay. So, this little graph it's horrible, right? But this axis is competence. This axis is confidence. So when you start, you know nothing, right? You literally don't know anything. You haven't done anything. You start going and you're like, wow, I'm getting this. This is what we call Mount Stupid. This is in the beginning when you get to a point where you're a know-it-all and you think you figured out everything and your confidence is super high. And then you hit what's called the Valley of Despair. In language learning, people say the intermediate plateau. It's not that you're not learning as much as you were all up in here. It's that you've realized how much you don't know, and your confidence is super low because you're like, I've been doing so much, and I feel like I'm not getting any better, haven't advanced, blah blah blah. So after you get to that point and you realize how much work you have to do, how much you don't know, blah blah blah, it's only up from there, and eventually, you get to a point where your confidence gets back up because you've done it so much, and you also realize like as much stuff as you can get wrong, it kind of doesn't matter, right? So like I was super concerned with making mistakes when I first started until I realized like there's literally no way that I'm not gonna make mistakes, even in English. Like when I talk, I say stuff wrong all the time, but I'm just like, oh no, that's not what I meant. I meant to say this. Who cares? But then for some reason, when I speak Spanish, I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. Like, why did I say that? Like, who cares, bro? How much does IQ play a part in learning languages? Do you think? Um, I, I, I don't, I don't think it plays a big part. I think it could. I think that might be something if you're talking about two people doing it with minimum contact with other people, or even like the speed at which two people might learn it in the same situation. But like if you're just talking about it in the sense of like, do you have to be smart to learn a second language? Like, no. Like, I don't think it matters what your IQ is. I remember one time I watched a speech where this dude was saying like, it's basically your birthright to speak four languages. Like, the human mind can hold four languages like relatively easily. Like, if you go in like areas like in the like North Africa, Middle East type area, like lots of them speak four languages fluently, effortlessly, and it's not like, oh my god, you speak four languages. It's just like, this is kind of necessary. We're intermingling with all these people. Like, this is just what everyone here does. And so that's I think that area where they get up to four relatively easily is like representative of like your capacity. Like all of them can do that. So it's not like, oh, we got this special guy that speaks four languages in the Middle East. It's just like everyone kind of does this in this little area. But even in other places um like a lot of people on the Brazil Argentina border, like I know like most of the people that I know from Argentina also speak Portuguese because they would go to Brazil a lot. Or yeah, just a lot of people that live in like Ukraine and Russia. A lot of them they speak either or every Polish person I know speaks Russian. It's just in certain places it's just like we're just expected to do this. So I think if you're talking about learning 10 languages, your IQ might have something to do with it, but you can learn another language. Colombian Spanish is weird. Maybe weird to you. Mount Stupid is also called the epiphany point, where you sort of get how the language works and you're an independent user of it. Yeah. What's the backstory of that photo with your dad in the bar? What photo with my dad in the bar? What are you talking about, bro? Is that to me? I don't know about a photo with my dad in the bar. Unless you know something I don't know. On IG? When, like, how far did you scroll back, bro? I don't even know what you're talking about. My dad in the bar. Are you talking about the last picture I posted? Like, with my friend that got married? We were both in, like, he's got on, like, the super nice tux jacket. He's got on, like, the sparkly one. Oh, yeah, that's my best friend, bro. Or one of my best friends. I will say language is like math. Some are intimidated by it, some grasp quicker than others, some grasp immediately, some do not. So IQ possibly. Yeah, I mean, anything in the world, there's all types of variables about that determine whether you could do something better. But like I said, two people could spend the same amount of time doing something and doing it two different ways, and some people would say, "Oh, this guy's just smart. He just picked it up." Planet Moolah has hinted at that about me before, and I tell him, I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think I'm much smarter than the average human being. I think when I took Spanish seriously, I attacked the problem directly, and a lot of people don't do that. So before I ever did that, because I took Spanish in high school and like I spent some time on Duolingo and stuff. When I would see people that were fluent that learned it, I would just be like, well, yeah, these dudes got something genetically going on and they're just gifted. Like they can just pick up languages. Like clearly, I'm not that type of person because I've been on Duolingo for like 300 days straight. And every time I hear a conversation in the store, I can make out like 3 words out of 100. So I'm just not a language guy. But now people say that about me. People say I'm a language guy, and I picked it up because I got something going on that they don't have, and I'm just like, nah. How's the weather in Seattle? It was hot today, man. My thermometer says 84. Um, I I turned off the AC so it won't be loud, so I'm kind of sweaty to be honest. Duolingo sucks, 100%. I don't think it's horrible, but it's like definitely a supplement, not a great tool on its own. How should the first lesson go? Just straight talking in Spanish about anything. Uh, it should go however you want it to go, to be honest. But I will say, well, okay, well, it matters. It matters if your person can speak English or not. Um, I find personally that I speak better Spanish when the person that I'm speaking to can't speak English. Because then it's like imperative that I communicate better, right? So, right. So what I was gonna say, uh, like when I talk to my friend from Colombia, I speak a lot better Spanish than when I'm talking to people. Even now, like when I talk to my soldiers from Puerto Rico, if I have to think for more than like 1 second about what I'm trying to say, I'll say the rest of the sentence in English because everyone speaks both. And they do the same thing. Like sometimes they're speaking in English and they'll just say the rest of it in Spanish, or sometimes they're native Spanish speakers and sometimes they say something in Spanish and then like they can't remember what something's called, so they'll just say the whole thing in English. So I mean, when you got both up here, it kind of doesn't matter. It's just like a convenience thing. But when you're trying to learn, I think to me, it's kind of better that you get with someone that doesn't speak that much English, or at least have a person that you can communicate with that doesn't speak that much English, because you'll end up copping out and speaking English with that person that speaks English, unless they're kind of maybe you could tell them be strict, like, hey, don't let me speak English, and that would be good because like you run the show. So you can tell them like, hey, after like this sentence, or you can tell them in Spanish, but if you tell them in English, just tell them like, hey, after this, once we get going in Spanish, like, don't let me back out and start speaking English. Like if I can't get something, describe it to me in Spanish, because that's what you would do with a kid. Like if I'm talking to like a 3 year old that's learning English, like it's their first language, that's why they ask why so much. They don't know, bro. And you can't, like, there's no other language that you can describe stuff to them with. You literally have to describe it with the most simple words that you can. Like, like, what's this? It's a pen. Like, what's that? Oh well, it writes. What's writing? It's like when you do this. It's like when you make marks. What's a mark? It's this, and you just keep doing that. But that's how you conceptualize stuff. You know what I mean? So it might feel like you're a baby, but like you kind of are a baby in Spanish. So just deal with it. Woo, 102 here in Vegas. That's crazy. How can they correct you if they don't speak English? Through the process that I just told you. Um, you would understand if they were trying to correct you in Spanish. You might not understand it today. You'll understand it later. I can still think about the times that my friend corrected me in the very beginning. And you're right. On that day, I felt like I didn't know what he was talking about. But like I said, your brain is like a computer, man. And like over time, it puts stuff together. And you, like one day, you'll just wake up and you'll be like, oh, I get it now. I get what that dude was telling me, bro. Because like I very clearly remember, like that's why I probably give the same example all the time. Because I said something to the extent of "Espero que estás bien" when I was first starting. He was like, "Estés," and I'm like, "What the is estés, bro?" Like, and he tried to explain it, and I was just like, "No idea what you're talking about, bro." And like he gave me like 10 different examples, and he would explain each one, but my level just wasn't. It just kind of wasn't there yet. And you know, at the end, he would say, "It doesn't matter if you say espero que, don't say estás." And I was like, all right. And I just said the sentence the way he told me, went on about my conversation. And it was just like one day, bro. One day I was talking and I was like, oh, duh, you can't say estás because like that doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. I don't know how to explain to you like how you make the realization, but it'll happen. Do people ever mistake me for being a native Spanish speaker? Sometimes. It depends on who I'm talking to. It depends on the situation too, because uh, if I'm not if I haven't been introduced to the person, then normally yes. Even if they don't mistake me for like being from a place, almost all the time I talk to people, they're like, "Oh, where are your parents from?" And I'm like, "They're from here." And they're like, "Oh, okay, but like where are their parents from?" And I'm like, "They're from here too." And like they literally just keep doing that. And I'm like, "Okay, like what you're looking for is like I learned Spanish." And they're like, "What?" Like, and then obviously they want to know the whole story and stuff. Um, and yeah, there might be like a look. That might be a look that helps. Like I don't know, when I have braids, like people are always like, "Oh, you kind of look like you're from here or there or whatever." So I don't know, but tell the motorcycle to keep it down. Yeah, but sometimes no. Sometimes people can tell. A lot of times, if they can tell though, like I met this Cuban girl the other day, in the military, and she was just like, she said something to the same effect. Like she questioned if I learned it. She asked me, did I learn it, and I said yeah, and she's like, where are you from? And I was like, from here. She was like, you learn Spanish here in the States? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh wow, like you don't have an accent. So usually, even if they don't think that I'm a native Spanish speaker, they usually compliment my Spanish, which doesn't always mean anything because looking back, like Spanish speakers be complimenting everybody, bro. They be like, wow, okay, well I know your Spanish is so good, and like your Spanish do not be good, bro. I used to say espero que estás bien all the time. Yeah, it's somewhat normal. If you're learning and you don't know what you're doing, like I said, you have to make mistakes. It's just part of the game, man. I look at mistakes as opportunities, man. I look at I made a video about this before too, but think about it like this. There's a time when you don't realize that you're making mistakes. You know those people that like just started learning Spanish yesterday and they're like, "Hola, amigo," and "Cómo estás?" and stuff like that. Like they don't know that they're saying it. They don't know if they're saying it with a bad accent. They don't know if they're saying the wrong words. They literally don't know anything except like this is what I'm trying to do. And like I said, you get to that valley of despair point, right? And to me, it shouldn't be despair. It should be like, yo, I'm so far along now that I can actually pick out all the mistakes that I'm making. It sucks because like now it feels like you're making a lot more mistakes than you did before, but it's not that. It's before you couldn't recognize that you were making mistakes. So like you said, you used to say espero que estás bien, and like you didn't know that you were wrong. So at the time, like looking back at all my old conversations, thinking about them, I remember I used to, cause me and my wife don't really speak Spanish to each other, almost never, bro. I used to tell my wife like, "Yo, I had a conversation today. It was crazy. Like I was flowing. Like I don't know if I made any mistakes. Like I was just talking. Looking back at those convos, I was making hella mistakes, but I didn't know I was making mistakes. That's the problem. So now I might walk away from a conversation that's like pretty high level, and I'm like, damn, bro, like I speak better than that. I don't know why I was like making so many mistakes, but like I said, the fact that I can like identify all the mistakes that I made to me like signifies that my level is a lot higher than it was at the time that I couldn't identify any mistakes. So like I said, just turn it into a positive. Turn it into a positive, baby. You got a real Mexican accent. I love to hear that one day, man. I always think that's like hilarious. I don't know why, but like English speakers that learn like any other accent, it doesn't really like make me laugh. But when English speakers have like a crazy Mexican accent in their Spanish, it just cracks me up, bro. Cause it just sounds so outrageous. I don't know why. It's funny, but it's cool. Like what's dude's name? Nate's Adventures or whatever. Like that dude's got the craziest Mexican accent ever. The Spanish speakers be making mistakes with Spanish too. Oh yeah, 100%. But here's the thing: when you're a native speaker, you don't care, and no one else cares because it's your first language. One thing, I'm trying to think of what they say because a lot of them make a subjunctive mistake, but it doesn't. Like I said, it kind of doesn't matter. But they, oh, like a lot of them would do like a double UBS, right? Or like a double hubiera instead of like, I don't know what the actual grammatical terms are, but instead of saying like, if this happened, then this would have happened, right? They will do double of the same one. Is it wrong? Like, kind of. But does anyone care? Does anyone not understand? No. It's like I was saying earlier about English. If you say, like, I expect that he's in the office tomorrow, it's wrong, but no one cares. No Phil tonight. I know. I think he's on a run or something. I don't know. But basically, he's not going to make it because if you're in the chat right now, that means you must be done working out and you're coming home soon. So this chat's about to be over soon. Why do Texans pronounce, or why do Texans mispronounce? Oh, I know, because they say Amarillo. You gotta think about it like this, bro. Everybody doesn't speak Spanish, so they're not gonna say the name right, bro. No one says any names in Texas, right? Like, I'm just thinking about all the towns that I know. Everyone says it the wrong way. It's just how you do it. I read an article about the role of AI in language learning and can't figure out if it's better than my current method, which is Duolingo, in reading short stories in Spanish. I guess it would depend on how you're using the AI, but I would say that Duolingo and reading short stories is not a great method in itself if you're not having any conversations because like I was just telling them once you have a conversation you're gonna realize that you can't have a conversation. So it could I actually messed around with the little chat GPT thing and I talked to it in Spanish. It's it's a cool tool if you use it. El Paso, yeah. Uh, it's a cool tool if you can like try to use it the right way, but it's still not quite the same thing as having a conversation in real life. But it is better than Duolingo and short stories because you're actually getting like some like quote unquote feedback. There's kind of like no randomness to it, but you are getting some feedback. The other problem with that feedback that's not randomness is like we just said, native speakers make mistakes and they actually make a lot of mistakes. They say stuff wrong all the time. So if you're always getting like super correct grammar, you might not be able to recognize how regular people talk. Like, Rolando's not in here tonight. Me and Rolando have had a few conversations about this on here. Lots of Mexicans say hiciste, dijistes, and whatever else. They put an S on it, which is, I'm not gonna say wrong. I'm not gonna say wrong because Rolando's gonna come on here. Like he might not even be here right now. His ears probably burning, bro. He gonna get on here and like, it's not wrong if the entire country says it. It's not wrong, but it's not. I don't know, but that's how a lot of Mexicans say it. I don't have a word that's not the word wrong. It's not wrong. It's just something that Mexicans do. Some people in other countries do it too. Sometimes I even hear Puerto Ricans do it, but Puerto Ricans don't be saying s's, so you might not even realize if they're doing that. So yeah, if you don't hear people say stuff the way it's said daily, you might be confused when you talk to a regular schmegular degular person, which is like the goal of communication, right? Like why would you wanna, like imagine if you could only speak like Shakespeare, and it's like no, like you're a very good Shakespearean, like this is excellent. Your vocabulary is crazy, but like I don't know what you're saying, bro. It doesn't matter that it's your second language. I don't know what you're saying, bro. I don't talk like that. I don't read Shakespeare. And I actually don't, by the way. What's the right way to say San Antonio? The right way is how everyone in San Antonio says it, like San Antonio. Don't listen to Axa, bro. Do not listen to Axa. Axa is one of those people that says Tejas. She'd be like, I can't say Texas because that's wrong. I have to say Tejas. How often is Axa wrong? In general, like in life? All the time. Literally everything she says is wrong. I'd be surprised when she says stuff right. I'd be like, what? And I'm like, actually, you know what? I think you might be right about that. That's crazy. She said never. Ax is one of those people that is super, super confident. It doesn't matter what she's doing or says. Like, you will be convinced that you're the wrong one. I promise you. You could be the subject matter expert, and she will say it with such confidence. She'll be like, "Hold on a second. Have I been doing this wrong my whole life?" As long as you don't look it up, you look it up, and you're like, "Yo, you really had me fooled. Like, you're wrong." But I don't know if that's what you're asking. Like, if you said the sky was blue, she would say it's red. Not necessarily. More like she would say the sky's not actually blue. It's just a reflection of something. But that the thing that she said would be wrong. But she would say it with like such confidence that you wouldn't think twice about it. And then you would be telling people that, and then they'll be like, that's not true. And they'll be like, oh wow. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if that was like your original question, or if you were saying like how often is she wrong in Spanish or English, or I don't know. I don't know. What am I doing to the laptop? I was just wondering how to say San Antonio. How's the fitness life going? I mean, my fitness life is good. I still compete in Olympic weightlifting. I got another competition in like 2 weeks. I'm still a strength and conditioning coach. Still train people. Oh, speaking of which, for anyone that cares, anytime I get on live, I'm gonna say this. It's also on my social media. Until July 4th is over, I am having a sale. This is a once in a lifetime kind of thing. And if you know me, you know that's true because I don't be doing sales on my stuff. But I'm a patriot. What can I say? 1 year's worth of remote programming for $1,000. You can go look on my site and see how much it normally costs, and you will know that that is a huge steal. It's only gonna happen until the end of July 4th. I promise you, on July 5th, you're not gonna be able to get it. I don't care what you say, unless you make some kind of a pre-deal with me, and you say, "Hey, I don't have money until July 5th. Can I pay it on July 5th?" Then we can talk. Maybe you can. But if you hit me up on July 5th, like, "Hey, I know I'm late," but I'm gonna be like, "No, bro. You had one whole week. How many days a week? Um, how many days a week is the program? And it's however many days you want it to be. Like when I do personalized programming, bro. I'm not like a AI machine or something that's like, oh, here's a squat program, take it and don't ever talk to me again. Like I'm in contact with every single one of my clients. The ones that want to send me videos every day of them lifting so that I can correct stuff. Like I said, I'm in constant contact with them, so I get weekly or daily feedback depending on how you want to do it. And then I adjust your programming so that it suits you better. I update my people's stuff every week, so I have like an overarching program. I might say for these 12 months, this is our goal, and I start mapping stuff out. But if you're like, dude, every time I do these step ups, my knees just bother, but it doesn't hurt when I do this exercise. I'll be like, oh, too easy. Let's swap that out. Let's see how your knee reacts to this, and blah blah blah. So it's not like, here's your program. Thanks for your $1,000. I'll see you next year. It's very very personal. So I can do three days a week for 1 year for $1,000. Yeah, you can do 5 days a week if you want. It's literally whatever you want to do. I make it based off of what my clients want. If they want 3 days, 2 days, 5 days, if I want to hit this weight, if I want to get to this physique, we're gonna sit down and talk, figure out what we want to do for 12 months, and then basically reverse engineer from there. Hey, Rolando's here. We was just talking about you, dog. No cookie cutter routines. Yeah, hell no, never. What are my maxes? Current maxes or like best all time? Because certain lifts I really don't do anymore or that often. So I could tell you a number, but it's not necessarily true because when is the last time I did that? Usually when people ask me how much I lift, I just tell them like what I could do today. So lots of people think I can, I don't know, lift a certain number, and I'm like, they don't know I could do like 150 pounds more than that if I like did it more frequently, but I don't. Best all time? I'll just go like in order. Some point in time, I squatted six something. I don't remember. I deadlifted 750. I benched 420. I clean and jerked 370. I snatched 290 up to this point. I overhead pressed 270. I push pressed 352. What other lifts are there? I jerked 396. I don't know. I don't know any other lifts. You might be able to think of something. I had a 315 bench back in high school when I was 17. That's crazy. You know, I know lots of people that bench 315 in high school. I trained this kid in boxing right now, and he told me he benched 315, and I'm like, bro, what? You're 17. Like, you're not even a big dude. And so, stuff like that actually, I think it's funny because people will say that I'm like naturally strong, like I have to be. And I'm like, bro, I know lots of people that bench 315 in high school. I never benched more than like 225 in high school. I just literally kept lifting for my entire life. So like anything that people see is like representative of a long time in lifting. What's my best seal roll? Ooh, actually don't know, bro. Especially strict because I remember one time I was actually chasing like chasing a bigger number because I was lifting at Andy's house during the quarantine and I can't remember. I don't remember, bro. That's such a random one that I haven't done enough to like really solidify how much I did. It was like 1 or 2 days where I was like literally like loading up, trying to do like 225 or something, and then I think after 225, it started getting to the point that I was like lifting up, and I'm like, I don't think I can count this. I can't remember how much I did though. I think anything I say would be a lie at this point, low or high. I would just be making it up. There's a fat kid on the football team who benched 405 at my high school. That's crazy. That's dope though. I played guard in high school, JV team, maxed out at 225. Got out junior year. I was definitely the weakest offensive line. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're in Texas. You got some big boys in Texas, man. I did. I had kids in my high school. Looking back on it, like, I'm like, yo, those kids were strong, bro. Those were kids, like, squatting 500 pounds and stuff, bro. But, like, it's Texas, and so many people could do so much crazy stuff. I never thought twice about it till I got to college weight rooms and people were like chasing that stuff, and I'm like, bro, I know like 10th graders that did this. Oh, my wife's home. Maybe she's gonna shower or something, so I might stay on a little bit longer. Yo, you about to shower or something or no? No, she's not showering. She's musty, so. Uh, did I go to college? Yes, I did go to college. All right, y'all. I got to get off of here, man. We about to eat dinner, so this was a little bit of a short live, but yeah. You want to say anything to the people or no?
Hello.
Hello. Any last words before I get off here? Planet Moolah, if you're interested. Oh damn, John just pulled up. Or have you been here? Yeah, Planet Moolah, if you're interested in what we just talked about, you can email me or you can hit me up on Instagram or whatever. Didn't realize you went live. Yeah, I got on here super early today, bro, because my wife went. She's on day shift now, bro. So I'm not gonna be doing this super late thing no more, man. Unless it's a weekend or something, maybe. But not gonna be happening. So early lives, and they're probably gonna be like an hour. So, yeah, I don't think anyone has any last words. So I'm about to go ahead and end it. Planet Moolah hit me up about the deal. I'll see y'all maybe tomorrow or something. Peace.